Ni hao, fine.
Recently, TikTok was shut down. President Trump planning to censor the youth masses' means of communication. However, he brought it back in what feels like a messy relationship. Trump is like, we're breaking up, and then the next day he's like, hey babe, I miss you. Regardless, while the app was down, momentarily halting one of the internet's biggest meme engines, other apps started getting some attention instead. The most notable being RedNote, otherwise known as Little Red Book, Mao Zedong when he sees a cat post on RedNote, Mao Zedong. Millions and millions of users from the Western world started flocking to RedNote following the TikTok ban, and even now, in the midst of uncertainty about the app's future, more and more users are flocking to it. I made an account too, and I have to say everyone is pretty nice. Typically in a comment section on an American app, at least one user is telling me to off myself, but on RedNote, most users are pretty jazzed. It's also interesting that this is even possible. I tried downloading Chinese social media apps years and years ago, and it was impossible. I think the biggest humor in this situation is everyone realizing China is just a relatively normal country filled with normal people. Irregardless of your political views, the US and China both house hundreds of millions of people who are just like vibing. Many Americans depict China in their head as this 1984 society where the whole country is like MW2 wasteland map and drones follow you around everywhere you go, and if you jaywalk you'll get machine gunned and your organs get uploaded to the cloud. But in reality, China isn't too dissimilar from the US, and my hope is that this app at the very least bands people together in a novel new way. My feed is filled with Chinese lesbians, so I'm certainly having a good time. But yes, most Chinese people welcome us with open arms, and the TikTok refugees have exploded on the app in popularity. RedNote is fairly similar to Instagram and TikTok with a photo and video sharing feature, but a lot of creators focus on influencer marketing and selling product as well. There are memes on RedNote too, like my personal favorite, white people food, which makes fun of how white people will just eat carrot and white bread and slab of salami and call it a day. A lot of Americans get really annoying as well and make jokes about the social credit system or stealing all of your data, as if America doesn't do the exact same thing. But also many users started making content of their own. A lot of new content is focused on learning Mandarin. I've gotten like dozens of Chinese people teaching me how to say basic things like ni hao on my feed. A lot of Americans have been lamenting that they can't have what China has, like Juniper's silly posts on Blue Sky and RedNote, for example. Day 3, no China. Other users have started posting white dudes with broken Chinese over it, making fun of white dudes trying to pick up girls on the app, which is happening. Usually using this photo with the caption, ni hao fine shits, which is like level 900 frat freak. Some users will greet Americans, and their parodies are pretty funny. I've seen many Trump impressions, or for example, this cowboy that greets us.
I know y'all too well. When you say you came over to this app wanting to learn some Chinese, you ain't even got a Chinese keyboard on your phone.
Following this app's explosion, apps like Duolingo started pulling out numbers, citing a 216% increase in Mandarin learners on the app. Before long, we're all going to be in that John Cena Bing chilling stage of language development. That'll be fun. The tones are really hard. Even The Daily Show has a segment about this. So yeah, Chinese social media is sort of popping off, reaching the top of the charts on app stores. Honestly, if anything, I just hope this can end some of the Sinophobia that exists in American culture. Some American news outlets even have happy headlines, like NBC News, who wrote, "A rare, joyful US-Chinese exchange is taking place on RedNote." You wouldn't see a headline like this 5 years ago. It would say something else, like, "China's deadly new social media app brainwashes millions with Chinese 5G. Maybe there are still some TikToks like that. Also, I've been hit on by hundreds of Chinese men, and so maybe I'll finally get to visit Chongqing and see that train that goes through apartment building. Or I'll be put into the US Doge wing of Wojak political prison for even talking about China. We'll see. Zaijian.